Every time. What's the matter with you? Hello fellow readers and readresses, and welcome to the 13th installment of The Lord of the Reeds, the most precious TBR game. If you're new to this game, I'm pretty sure you have no trouble figuring out what inspired it, and if you'd like to learn more about it and how it came to be, I have a whole playlist for you right here. But if you have no time or desire for that, I'm gonna explain the rules right now because they're very simple. The whole thing starts with two six-sided dice which we roll 5 times. We roll the dice, we move across the map counterclockwise, we land on a tile, and then we select a book to correspond to the prompt on said tile. Speaking of tiles, we have the empty one which has no prompt, so when we land on it, we're gonna dip into my bookshelf jar, which contains all the books that I currently own and haven't yet read. There are over 300 books in this jar. Judge me all you want. I deserve it. Next we have the 2024 TBR jar tile. When we land on it, we're gonna dip into my 2024 TBR jar and select a series to continue with from there. If you're curious what's in this jar, you can watch this video. Then we have the series jar tile. When we land on this one, we're gonna dip into my series pot, which contains all the series I am in the middle of reading. Then there are all the genre tiles. We have fantasy, mystery / thriller, classics, manga, graphic novel, historical fiction, science fiction, and non-fiction. I think it's pretty clear what we do when we land on one of these. Next we have the prompt cards tile. When we land on it, we're going to select one of the prompt cards. There are over 50 of those, and each of them contains a different reading prompt. Then we have the +1 book tile. When we land on this one, we're going to dip into the bookshelf jar and add an extra roll to this month's TBR. There is one more case when I will add an extra roll to the month's TBR, and that is if I roll a double, which is also known as the Amanda roll. If you're curious to know why, I'm going to link a video for you right here. Then there's the bookstore tile. When we land on this one, I'm going to go either to the bookstore or to the library and pick a book to read from there. And last but definitely not least, we have the missions tile. When I land on this one, I'm going to select one of the mission cards, each of which contains a special mission, upon the completing of which I'm going to unlock one of the characters from the Fellowship of the Reed. Up until last month, I had unlocked 5 of the characters: Gimli, Gandalf, Boromir, Merry, and Frodo, and since last month I landed on the mission tile twice and got the missions The Truest Aim, which required me to pick a book with my eyes closed, and The Return of the King, which required me to reread the first book I ever loved, and I managed to complete both of those missions, so I unlocked the characters of Aragorn and Legolas, both of whom are going on the board. With that done, I only have 2 more missions remaining, and once I complete those 2, I'm gonna treat myself to a book haul since I am currently on a book buying ban, and there will be a special surprise for all of you. If you happen to like this game and you would like to play it yourself, I have provided both printable and digital version of it in the video description. Enjoy. All of that out of the way, I think the only thing left is to actually play the game. Let's go for roll number 1. If you're wondering where the previous box went, my cats happened to sacrifice it to whatever demon they're serving. And we have an 8. This is where we ended up last time, so let's go from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we landed on an empty tile. No. I am always a little apprehensive about the bookshelf jar because despite the fact that there are so many amazing books here, some of them I just don't feel like reading at all. But let's see what we're gonna pull. This one. Age of Myth? Oh my, this is gonna be exciting. Age of Myth by Michael J. Sullivan is an adult epic fantasy and the first book of the Legends of the First Empire series. This whole series, as far as I understand, is a prequel to the Rayuya Revelation series, which I absolutely loved. I have heard great things about this series, and in fact, I owned this book before I even bought any of the books from the Rayuya Revelation series because I really liked the cover. So I'm really looking forward to checking this one out. Alright, this could have been a bit of a rough start, but it ended up working out quite nicely, so I'm happy. Let's go into roll number 2. Wow. Oh, no. We have a 6. Thanks, Amanda. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and we landed on the prompt cards. I used to say that the prompt cards was my favorite tile, but after a few consecutive times where I got terrible prompts, don't know who came up with those, I'm a little more cautious with that statement now. Let's see what we're gonna get. This one. A book you've been wanting to reread. All right, I gotta think about this. All right, this actually ended up being a pretty nice and easy choice because last month I didn't do great with my reading. I actually read less than half of the books that were on my TBR. So I decided to use some of the books that I started in February but haven't made a lot of progress into them for prompts of this month. Did this sentence make sense? Doesn't matter. If you want to hear more about this, you can watch my February wrap up over here. But long story short, I decided to pick a book that was already on my January TBR, and that is The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. This is a young adult fantasy and the first book in the Heroes of Olympus series. I had read this book like 10 years ago and remember quite enjoying it, but I never ended up finishing the series, so I'm wanting to do it right now, and I thought it would be a good idea to go through this book one more time. So this is what I'm gonna do. Only 2 rolls in, and Amanda already managed to strike back. Isn't that fantastic? Anyway, let's go into roll number 3. And we have an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, we landed on sci-fi. Nice. Yet another very easy choice for me because I decided to go with Only Human by Sylvain Neuvel. This is an adult sci-fi and the third and final book in the Themis File series. I read the first book, Sleeping Giants, last year, and then in January this year I read the second book and I loved both of them, so I'm really excited about this one, especially given the cliffhanger which book 2 ended on. This series is also on my 2024 TBR, so I am very much looking forward to finishing another series and hopefully decreasing the ever-growing number of the series I have stuck in progress. Alrighty, 3 rolls, and so far only great books. I am super excited about every single one of those, so let's go into roll number 4. And we have a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, no. We landed on an empty tile. What are the odds of me getting 2 great books from my bookshelf jar in a row? Not very high, I don't think. Let's see. This one. Oh, The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This is a book that I actually attempted to read last year and DNF'd around 40% because I was so supremely bored. So this is not gonna be it. I'm gonna pick another book. Why am I so nervous? This one. Life on Mississippi. Cool. Life on Mississippi by the one and only Mark Twain is a historical fiction that I know absolutely nothing about. I saw it in a bookstore here and I just couldn't pass it by. I am a big fan of the writing style of the author, and there's something about a steamboat on a river that I find so very cozy. My mom actually read this book last year or the year before that, and she said that she had quite a bit of fun with it, so I am hoping I feel the same way too. There's also some tiny illustrations here and there that I find to be a very nice touch. Okay, that was a bit of an unexpected choice, but it was way better than the alternatives, so I am really happy about it. Now we're 4 rolls down and we have 2 more to go. Hopefully only 2 more to go. I probably jinxed myself. Let's go into roll number 5. And we have a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my, classics. Cool. I am actually really happy that we landed on classics because as part of my self-grace give, this sounded terrible, as part of my attempt to actually finish the books that I had on my February TBR, I am going to put Short Story Masterpieces Volume 2 on this TBR as well. This is a collection of classical short stories with a twist ending, and I read Volume 1 last year and really liked it. Now in February I got this one and I wasn't even able to start it because of multiple circumstances that aren't that important, so I'm really happy to be able to put it on my March TBR because I really want to read it. Alright, we are 5 books down, and if the universe is kind to me, we only have 1 more roll to go, so let's go and see if that's the case. Roll number 6. No doubles. Oh, thank God. And we have a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, prompt cards again. Alright, so Amanda was surprisingly generous today and only struck me once, which is great, and now let's hope that the prompt cards will do the same. This one. A book by a debut author. Alright, this is a very interesting prompt. I'm gonna have to think about this. Okay, after a bit of a research, I think I managed to come up with a book that I'm super excited about, and that is Into the Sunken City by the author Dinesh Thiru. This book was actually a part of my most anticipated releases of 2024, and it came out in January of this year. From what I remember from the synopsis, this is a young adult dystopian sci-fi slash fantasy, not 100% sure, where Las Vegas and maybe most of America is sunken underwater, and a crew goes to dive there to look for treasure or something of that sort. I remember being super excited about this setup, and I am really super excited about it. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Unfortunately, I can't find it physically here in this country where I'm living, so I'm probably gonna purchase it as an ebook and read it in that way. Alright, so my TBR for March is going to include Age of Myth by Michael J. Sullivan, Only Human by Sylvain Nouvel, Life on the Mississippi by Mark Twain, short story masterpieces with a twist ending by various authors, The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan, and Into the Sunken City by Dinesh Thiru. But wait, there's more, because every single month I participate in 2 monthly reading challenges: the Buzzword Reading Challenge created by Kayla from Books and Lala, and the Year in LDA Reading Challenge created by G from Book Roast. I'm gonna link both of them in the video description. For the Buzzword Reading Challenge, the prompt for March is character names, so the title of the book has to contain a character name. And for the Year in LDA Reading Challenge, the prompt is to read a book that's neither first nor last in the series. And luckily, I managed to find a book that covers both of those prompts. And for both of those challenges in the month of March, I'm gonna go with Anne of the Island by Lucy Maud Montgomery. This is a young adult historical fiction and the third book in a 9 book series. For sure, I know it's neither the first nor the last book, and it clearly contains the name of the main character. Anne of Green Gables is a series that contains some of my most favorite books, and while, as I mentioned, it contains 9 books, I have decided to stop reading it after book number 3 after a conversation with the lovely Kim. And I'm doing that for basically cowardly reasons. Anne is one of my favorite characters of all times. She is the hero of my inner child. Oh my god, that sounded so douchey. Anyway, I want her to always be happy, to run through the green meadows and lush forests and enjoy everything about life like she has done so far. But I know that as the series progresses, we're gonna start tackling more serious subjects, and while I generally have no issue with that in books, I am in fact looking forward to that in most of the books that I read. Anne specifically is too precious for me, and I know that it's super dramatic and irrational to be this attached to a fictional character, but it is what it is, okay? I am allowed a little bit of irrationality every now and again. So even though after this book I'm gonna stop reading the series, technically this is not the last book in the series, so it still covers the prompt for the Year in LDA Reading Challenge. So we end up with 7 books on my March TBR, and I am super excited about every single one of these books. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and please let me know in the comments down below what you're reading in the month of March and whether you've read any of these books. I'm super curious to know. Also, once again, if you'd like to play the Lord of the Reads yourself, you can find all the links in the video description. Thank you so much for watching, and if you'd like to see how I did with my reading in February, check out this video. Bye.